De regreso aquí en Auto 060 en Cristina Radio Network, y ahora vamos a hablar de un segmento que me gusta mucho. We're going to switch back to English actually. We're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, even though the theme of the show is cars. Car companies do many other things, and for that we're going to talk to Janine Genevin from Volkswagen Group in Washington. How are you, Janine?
Good, how are you? Great to talk to you.
Great to talk to you too. So as I was saying, car companies, most people only think about making cars, selling cars, and servicing cars, but there's a lot of other stuff going on in big corporations like Volkswagen, right?
There is. Just this past year alone, in 2013, just as Volkswagen Group of America, we've given over $10 million to our, communities and community service, and in car donations and just giving back. So it's not just about cars; it is about giving back to the community as well.
Yeah. So let us, for our audience who don't know much about the Volkswagen Group in the U.S., I mean, like most people will just think about the brand, but also in this aspect, there's many other things going on.
There is. Well, here the Volkswagen Group of America, we're 13 brands worldwide, but here in the U.S. we have Volkswagen, Audi, Bugatti, Lamborghini. We now have Ducati, Bentley, and Volkswagen Financial Services as well. And we, all work together to give back to the communities in our different locations. We have 50 locations throughout the U.S., but here in Herndon, Virginia is our U.S. headquarters. And, today we did a really great thing in having our employees volunteer at the National Mall, which is, the most visited national park in America, we learned today.
And what were you doing there? I mean, this is just like right after the 4th of July weekend. So what were you doing there?
Yeah, exactly. So let me just go back to last year. We made an announcement that we, as a company, are donating $10 million to the Trust for the National Mall. The mall is in some pretty bad shape. There's been a lot of neglected repairs and ongoing repairs, and so it was time to really do that investment. And the only way to really do something like that at that grand scale is through a public-private partnership. And so the Trust for the National Mall was created about 7 years ago to work with companies and individual donors to really restore the National Mall. We came on last year and announced a $10 million partnership over 5 years with them. So, not only is it a national treasure, they refer to it as America's front yard, but also, it's right in our backyard, as our headquarters is now in Herndon, Virginia, which is right outside of Washington, D.C.
Yeah, pretty surprising, like the National Mall can be that neglected, like it's in D.C., I mean, the nation's capital and all that. I mean, how can that be? I mean, it's kind of surprising to me to hear that.
It is, and I mean, it's so heavily trafficked, and it's just, years of neglect. It really takes a beating. For example, this past weekend, the 4th of July is their biggest celebration, and they estimate they had 750,000 people on the mall this weekend. So it's quite a large number. So, yeah, we had about 60 employees out today, and they were doing all sorts of things from, cleaning up firework debris was
Wow.
one of the big areas. The National Park Service is wonderful, and they came over the weekend and did the massive cleanup. But there were some other things to be done, and then with some refreshing. So we had employees doing planting new flower beds where things were just trampled over that many visitors. They were painting, the chains around the park, and doing some touch-up paint, and all over we were there for about 5 hours for 60 people, and so we really got a lot of work done. It was great.
Wow, that's a lot of work, because this time of the year in Washington, it's pretty hot too.
It was hot. We really lucked out. We had planned this date. We wanted a date where we knew we were actually doing some help, and we knew, this is where they really needed some people. And we saw it and thought, July 7th, okay. So on things we need to provide employees, water, sunblock, things like that. So we're really prepared. We lucked out. It was a beautiful day. Of course it was hot, but it could have been much worse.
Yeah. And so this donation, the $10 million donation to the Trust of the National Mall, did that include any money for the renovation of the obelisk? I think that monument was recently renovated, right?
Well, what happened was, and I'm not an expert in this field, but a couple of years ago, we had what most people would consider a minor earthquake here in the D.C. area. But the National Mall and a couple of other local historical sites, but the National Mall in particular, closed because it had some loose pieces. And so it really had to be restored. So it's been under construction since then. Our particular donation, I believe, is going towards some of the gardens and some of the lawns that being restored, but that is all under the Trust for the National Mall. So yes, it does go to help that as well. But that was quite a, most people joked, all the Californians joked that we didn't really know a real earthquake. But meanwhile, one of our prized possessions here was closed down for a few years to repair that.
I remember that like 2 years ago. Actually, there was a Volkswagen media event during the earthquake.
Yes, I heard that. Yeah, everybody joked and made fun of us. All the Californians made fun of us, but we did have some implications.
So also during the event today at the National Mall, you also had the new Touareg Hybrid, right?
We did. So as part of, extending this partnership and, to cap off the Volunteer Day today, we have we are providing them with a Touareg Hybrid that they'll use, through the rest of our partnership. So the next, 3+ years. And they're going to the trust is going to use it to, host other volunteer activities with different companies or different groups that come to, help restore them all. They're going to use it to, just get out the word of the campaign. It's wrapped. It's got, a huge picture of the Lincoln Memorial across it. It just looks really great. And plus, it's a hybrid, so, we're not doing any extra, ecological damage around the mall. So they're pretty excited about that. I just threw in a GoPro camera, too, so we'll be able to see where the Touareg's been around the mall and around the city. So it should be pretty fun. Yeah,
pretty cool. So, Janine, what other things are, obviously there's a lot, and maybe we don't have enough time for that, but what are work like this is the Volkswagen Group involved here in the U.S.?
Yeah, so I would just love to give a quick, shout to our employees. It's really important to us at Volkswagen that our employees get out and do things. So in addition to, some of the partnerships that are done within the communities, Audi has a Best Buddies program that they really promote, and there's a couple other, we work with People for Bikes, but, a lot of times we are just trying to enhance our employees' passions, and we, as a company, give out each employee has a volunteer day that they can take at any time to volunteer at the charity of their choice. And we also have a really wonderful matching program where, we match employees' donations for their own, passion projects up to $5,000. So it's been pretty great. And, internally we're just trying to ramp that up a little bit more and, let employees know that, they have this great benefit. And so we've been launching that, and we've been doing things with Boys and Girls Clubs in the D.C. area, in the Detroit area, in the Portland area. So just little projects. And sometimes it's just, an hour where we're, cleaning up a Boys and Girls Club's computer lab, or sometimes we're stuffing backpacks, in the local school. So we're just trying to encourage our employees to get out there and, be members of their community. And, we do more than sell cars. We want to, be part of our neighborhood.
Yeah, and that's why I always like to share this information, because, again, a lot of people only think about a car company just like making cars and selling them and all that. So thank you very much for your time. And one last thing, we have less than a minute here. I want to congratulate Volkswagen because I've been enjoying the World Cup coverage, and I think the Volkswagen ads for the Golf with Andres Cantor are the best.
They're so much fun. I know, we loved it. And yeah, I know. I mean, we got to enjoy seeing some of the global projects that are being done in the communities and stuff when we, were recently in Brazil. So it's not just there. We're doing it in the U.S. too. So it's pretty fun to be a part of something big.
Well, excellent. Thank you very much, Jeannie Bean from the Volkswagen Group here in the Washington, D.C. area. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll talk soon.
Great. Thank you, Javier. Have a great day.
Bye. Este ha sido el show de esta semana. Muchas gracias por la atención. Los espero en la próxima edición aquí en Cristina Radio Network. Me pueden seguir por Twitter en @JavierMota, y también, como siempre, les recomiendo que vayan al canal de YouTube para que vean todos los videos de las coberturas que hacemos por todas partes. Yo soy Javier Mota. Esto es Cristina Radio Network.
Este programa fue una producción de National Latino Broadcasting.